Modern Warfare 3 may be doing a franchise first here upcoming, where if you're like me, a grinder of camos or any other rewards, this might be something you should keep an eye out for. We don't know when, but sometime in the near future, it looks like there might be something a little further for us to grind out. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What do you think of the idea of a Grand Mastery or Ultra Mastery reward of some kind in Modern Warfare 3? What would your ideal reward be for that, actually? Drop your thoughts, and of course, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Modern Warfare 3 and other FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, check out the short form content we're starting to post over on TikTok. Link down there in the description below. But for now, let's jump into it. So a few days ago at this point, I think it was like Tuesday, the day before the season launched, representatives from Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Raven, and Beanox all got in a call with some press and a few creators to share details about the upcoming season, now season 3 that's live for all of us. Most of those kind of calls are usually just like recaps of the blog revealing the season, but there's always a few things that may go almost unnoticed that are interesting. The biggest, for me at least, was this hint of a potential new mastery reward coming in the near future. It was asked during the Q&A portion of this, are there any extra rewards planned for completing every Grand Mastery challenge across multiplayer and zombies? Verbatim, the answer that we got was, we're looking into it. There are some aspects of it that will get a little difficult. In fact, I just read the zombies part of that, which we're working on some stuff where we will roll it out eventually, but not today. So that's awesome to hear. Obviously didn't give any sort of specifics, but I just like the idea of this just fundamentally. I wanted to see something like this since we learned of carry forward and multiplayer and zombies camos coming. You can go back to some of my videos pre-launch and I was like gushing over the idea of, for me at least, what I'd love to see, a Grand or Ultra Mastery camo reward. Like what I pitched way back then, I would love to see something of any sort of number of these. It could honestly just be like one additional camo above if you completed both multiplayer and zombie stuff. But like, I think it'd be cool to see like a sort of new mastery set of it, where you have maybe the opportunity of getting a new camo for completing both Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer masteries, your Interstellar and your Orion camos. You get another camo perhaps for your Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 Borealis and Bioluminescent camos. You end up getting another mastery camo if you end up getting your Interstellar and Borealis camo for Modern Warfare 3 weapons, and then maybe another mastery camo if you end up just doing Modern Warfare 2 across the board, your Bioluminescent and your Orion. And if you got all those done, well then you got a brand new Grand or Ultra Mastery camo. Now will that happen? Probably not. Like, being 1000% real and honest with you, I don't see that happening, as much of a pipe dream as that is, and I would love for it to happen. Historically, there's just not the precedent here for that. What is likely, though, I would say, is maybe a camo. We'll get to that in a second. But honestly, a lot of the stuff that we could also see this boil down to is something as simple as like a calling card, emblem, and or charm. Frankly, I'm a little bit hesitant to get my hopes up for anything in regards to either anything too crazy, but even just like another camo on top of that, because it's mentioned Grand Mastery. A lot of the times that's used in reference to talk about the mastery challenges, not necessarily the mastery camos from Dev Talk, like a legitimate and more direct mention of the mastery systems in place where you have to rank the weapon up and then get 100 kills with Gilded, 200 kills with Forged, 300 with Priceless, and 400 with Interstellar for the MP variation of it. Same thing goes with then the different named Zombies Mastery camos. But like 1,000 kills base, 36,000 base for your Grand Mastery in your weapon challenge standpoints. So when they use that term Grand Mastery, I'm tempering my expectations, but would still love to see a camo side of that. And frankly, I think that'd be something that more of the community would like to see as well. I don't think a calling card or a charm for completing Modern Warfare 3 zombies and multiplayer mastery would do that, but like if it was a camo, I think you'd see people a little more hyped over that. But maybe I'm just misreading the situation. But then it comes down to this idea of, okay, well, that's cool, we can see it coming up, but like at the earliest, we'll probably see this in season 4, right? Like that is a long time into the year here, and not a whole ton of time to really show that off or use it if we're gonna transition then into Black Ops Gulf War in that theoretical naming for COD 2024. You only have 2 seasons, about 3.5 to 4 months before the next game. So at that point, why grind out the rest of it if it's not going to really last all that long? So why haven't we seen this to date yet? Well, that's a really loaded question, honestly. I kind of think that there's a few different contributing factors here, but probably a lot of it comes down to, one, a shortened dev window. It's an afterthought. These ultra mastery things or grand mastery things, it's not necessarily something that is the most important thing to the play experience, as much as I love to have stuff to grind out. I mean, this game was built reportedly in 16 months. So you had to get architecture, structure, content on 3 modes, balancing, everything like that ready, where another step above your mastery camos, it's an afterthought for sure. But also, coming later on in the season, it's a way to bring grinders back later in the year, whereas they may not be playing all that much. Full transparency, I don't really play a ton of multiplayer or Warzone at the moment. It's just one of those things that I did all that I really wanted to up front, got my content out of it and everything, that whenever a game launches, I'm absolutely grinding that out 24/7. But now, it's kind of like my off time, my off season before I have to jump in and grind another COD game out later this fall. There's nothing wrong or anything about that. It's just one of those things that every single time around this year, I just kind of roll back a little bit on how much I play. But if there's something like this that I love grinding out camos, if there's something that's that next level above, I'm going to come back, and there's probably a lot of people that are like that. Obsidian camo in Modern Warfare 2019 was a great example of this. It was added at the end of April of 2020, so added half a year later from that launch period, and when people were starting to, of course, get Damascus camo and everything shortly thereafter that. But realistically, I think the most valid reason for why we haven't seen this just yet is the sheer amount of technical difficulties that can be presented with this. Don't take this as 100% gospel, but prior mentions of this perhaps difficulties facing the development of this kind of system, I've always kind of imagined it as a tracking issue. The example that I always give is, imagine a cork board like that cliche detective trying to catch his bad guy would use. A point A and a point B connected by red thread, right? Point A being your weapon, point B being the camo challenge. That's easy enough to follow and track, right? Especially if you have a big enough board. But what if you start adding a dozen or so in and crossing those intersecting into one singular point? Say, a mastery camo, like gold at the very basic building blocks here of this. You have to complete 4 challenges that goes up to gold, and then a 5th one, and that's 5 points of string that start to lead higher up that can maybe get tangled on that little end there. But then, okay, you multiply that by 6 to get assault rifles in your forged camo, but then you multiply that by 36 for the amount of weapons you need for priceless, and suddenly, oh crap, that's a lot of red string. But you do that not only for 1 mastery, but upwards of perhaps 4? I mean, we have 900 camos from challenges alone in play. For the game to cross-reference the unlock status of all of those across 2 different modes and upwards of 4 different total mastery camos and their subsidiary 12 other gilded, forged, and priceless equivalents, that's a ton of string to get lost in, which is why occasionally tracking issues will arise. Or so, that's how I always thought of it. Post-launch, a dev who works on the UI actually reached out to me to say, hey, yeah, it was actually a pretty good analogy for how this tracks, telling me that in a simplified nutshell, that's basically what happens and why any issues may arise. So when you consider how much has to be tracked, the potential room for error, and all those factors like, okay, this is an afterthought coming after they get the game in a playable state, or it brings players back, I kind of think that it's valid to consider all of those reasons as to why we haven't seen this happen just yet, and why we can look forward to it now rather than at the time of launch. Kind of a bummer, but there's a lot of stuff that we as general consumers are never really privy to, and I think this is one of those unfortunate realities that, yeah, it'd be cool as hell to see, but sometimes it just is a much taller task than we may consider. So anyways, mastery rewards of some kind, whether it be a camo, whether it be a calling card, charm, we don't quite know what it's going to be just yet. It does look to be on the way at some point, and for that, I love that idea. I'm here for it, but I'd love to know your thoughts down below on all of this. But before we wrap everything up, make sure you check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for what I firmly believe are the best blue light glasses on the market. I've worked with these guys for 3 years now and cannot recommend them enough. They're the most lightweight, comfortable, and durable frames on the market as far as I've used, and I definitely think they've helped my daily productivity. Now, full transparency, they are a bit of investment, but I do think your vision is absolutely worth investing into, especially if you're like me, you're looking at a monitor, you're looking at your phone, or you're gaming for a good chunk of the day. If you guys would like to learn more, at the very least, I'd recommend checking out their website, where they can better break down the science and their products way better than I could, but what I can personally say is that I'd highly recommend them. So if you guys would like to learn more, check the link in the description below, and if you'd like to pick something up for yourself, use code Espresso to get 10% off your entire order. But for now, that's what we're gonna call it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Would you guys like to see a camo of some kind, a weapon charm, whatever the case, drop your thoughts. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing. We're getting all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and other FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name's been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.